Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I am a drunken master.
And I'm Gary, and today we're going to review and discuss Fearless, which came out in 2006 from director Ronny Yu. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis for Fearless?
Well, the story follows Jet Li's character, Ho Yan-ji, who's a bit of a legendary Chinese figure. He suffers some serious family tragedies at a young life and disappears off into the mountains, but comes back ready to defend the honor of the Chinese people.
I was first made aware of director Ronny Yu because of my fandom for the horror genre.
Yeah.
You know, Ronny Yu turned up and took over the reins of the Chucky franchise with The Bride of Chucky.
Yeah, I was like, what?
You know, and that was when the Chucky franchise started to take in these comedy routes.
Yeah.
But then he was also the director for Freddy vs. Jason, which is one of the most celebrated versus battles in the horror franchise.
Yeah.
In both these horror franchises, which are just icons. This is a very talented director, but I'm not that familiar with the bulk of his work, only because he's bled over into a genre which I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
I'd seen Fearless, you know, roughly just after it had come out. And this is also, it's coming from me who does not go out of my way to watch the latest Jet Li film or the latest martial arts film. They don't really appeal to me that much.
Yeah.
I was introduced to Jet Li through films like Romeo Must Die.
Yeah.
You know,
Lethal Weapon 4.
And Lethal Weapon 4. This is after he had become a huge success in his foreign films, but when he came over to do American films,
Yeah.
that was when I went, oh, this guy's fast, or this guy's really talented.
Yeah.
It's a shame about the films that he's in. Although I have, and still do, quite like the Expendables films. Even though Jet Li's kind of got a small part in those films,
Yeah.
he stood out as being probably the most talented when it comes to doing martial arts out of anybody.
Yeah.
And Fearless was touted as being his final martial arts film.
Yeah.
Although that's not really the case, because he's continued to do martial arts in some of the films that he's been in since.
Yeah.
But if this was his swan song, then it's one hell of a swan song.
The thing was, when Fearless came out, a lot of my friends was just like, oh my god, you've got to watch Fearless. It's the best martial arts movie ever.
I was one of those.
And you immediately know that these people have no idea about martial arts movies when the first movie they ever see is the best martial arts movie ever.
But it was.
But I've seen Fearless. I've seen Fearless like 3 or 4 times. This will be the 4th time I've seen it, especially for the review. And I'm probably going to get a bit of hate for this because the character of Ho Yan-ji, you know, unlike the other characters that Jet Li has portrayed, has history. He is known. He's got family descendants.
Oh yeah,
You
it
know,
should be said that this is very much based on a true story at the early 20th century. So I think it was like 1910. I think around about the time the film takes place.
Yeah, well, I mean, 1910 is that's where the start off. You see him. He's at that tournament, and Ho has to take on 3 other guys, or 3 or 4 other guys
combatants
on his own. You know, if he falls, then the Chinese people are humiliated. You know,
Yeah.
but he's going to use all of his talent and all of his prowess as a wushu master to show his talent. But then the film backtracks to at least, well, it's 30 years before, and we see Ho as a young boy,
child.
and he's watching his dad, who is also a wushu master. You know, they've got a business,
Yeah.
and they're teaching disciples, you know, wushu. That's how their money come in. And his father is challenged.
Well, before he's challenged, there's that amazing sequence where the father is just outside practicing.
Oh, he's just hitting that fucking.
He's hitting that stone over and over again, and you know he does the final slam, and then he just kind of like walks away, like yeah. And then his boy comes in, wanders up, and puts his hand on the stone, and the stone just caves inwards. And you're just like, wow, you know, he hit that stone with such force that he broke it without it even fracturing or breaking after he hit it. It's like, so he's got some force, and you notice that he was palm striking as well.
Yeah.
But you also, in that sort of 5-minute flashback, really, you also get to establish Ho Yan-ji as this boy who's being taught business, but wants to learn martial arts. And his best friend, Yin-sun, his, you know, has a father who's into martial arts, but is also being forced business, and he does the homework for him while he goes and fights.
So this is it. This is where I started to realise that, like I said, I've seen this film loads of times, but I started to realise that Ho is very undisciplined.
Massively.
All he wants to do is fight. He thinks that beating people to a pulp, is the way to become...
To earn the respect.
To earn respect, yeah. And his father is there saying, no, you have to listen. You have to learn self-control. Go off and do your calligraphy test, learn some inner peace. And then he makes Jinsun do all of his work.
Yeah. And so then we get to the fight.
Well, yeah, we get to this now fight where Ho's father has been challenged, and Ho's watching it, and his father goes for one last hit, which would kill the other guy.
Yeah, because of what we saw earlier.
Yeah, but he holds back because he sees his son, and he doesn't want his son to see this side of him.
They did sign death waivers at the beginning to say that, if you die in combat, you signed it.
Yeah, we need death waivers in life again.
Yeah.
We need more death waivers, Just walk up to people and be like, fight, yeah, okay, sign this. Yep, that's fine. It's all legal now. That's it. But his father loses, and so the family kind of loses some of their business now, because it's been shown that their martial art is not as strong as this other guy's. And Ho gets beaten up by the other master's son.
Yes.
And so now Ho has got it in him that he's never going to lose ever again. It then jumps again, which I felt was a bit off. But like I said, I've seen this film a number of times, but this time it felt off-putting. Now all of a sudden it jumps. He's now an adult. He's now got a daughter. His father has passed away. And
his wife has passed away.
His wife has passed away. And now he's the head of the family. And I'm like, okay, that's quite quick.
But I like that sequence, though. I didn't mind the very quick sort of flashbacks to explain. It kind of really broke down his life story, his childhood.
Yeah.
Condensed it very quickly. But even in this one sequence where he comes back and he sees his daughter and he talks to the grandmother.
Yeah.
And you get to see all of his traits right there. You get to see how cocky and self-assured he is.
Yes.
He's brash and he's impulsive and he's lacking the intelligence that he needs or the wisdom that he needs to keep the position that he's at.
Exactly.
He still has the love and respect of everyone around him because he's not an asshole.
Not yet.
But at the same time, he also... you see him have that one scene with his daughter where she's all giggly and happy that he's there.
Yeah.
But you soon see her just left there on her own, because he doesn't really have time to be a father, as well as a teacher, as well as uphold the family name.
But the thing is, he does. But he doesn't realise this. He gets... What was it? His mother says to him right there, you don't need to fight. You need to sort out what's inside you. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then the guy walks in and says, here's a challenge. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll be back. Like, he hasn't even heard anything she said.
No, well, that happened in the childhood sequence. He has that sequence with her where she imparts all of this wisdom to him about what the martial art is. And it's, it's not about defeating people. It's about respecting each other, and you don't have to win.
Balance. Yeah.
Balance,
you have to have balance.
And then when it cuts to him as an adult, she imparts the next level of wisdom upon him. And you soon realise that, he has learned none of that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because he believes, he even says it at his father's shrine, because his father's passed, he's just like, we're never going to lose ever again. And it's like, that's not what your father was honourable when he got defeated and just carried on.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Because of this massive jump, we don't know what happened to his father after this. Did they, financially, I'm assuming they haven't lost anything. We don't know what killed his wife.
And I guess childbirth.
Yeah. And he must have just left the child to be raised by somebody else because he doesn't want to be there. He goes off and fights this guy, which, I'll get to the fight in a second. But after the fight, it's like, I'm going to go get drunk now. And his daughter has already said to him before he's left, I've got a present for you, but you don't get it until after the fight. Now, as a father, if my son said that, I'd be like, I'm going, guys. I'm heading home. But Ho doesn't do that.
He's an alcoholic. A raging
alcoholic. And that's the thing with this film. The first couple of times I saw him as this honourable master. Now I'm looking at it and I'm like, you're a deadbeat alcoholic father.
Who happens to be very talented.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that to his face.
No. But we do get then to the first big fight of the film.
Oh, yes. You know, waivers have been signed. They've created a fucking elaborate platform. I thought that was a little bit over the top.
It's just even getting up there. You've got to jump from the platform.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I could die before I even get up there. But now I'm going to have this really cool fight. And like we said, Jet Li is fucking amazing on screen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he is one of the best, if not the best out there. I mean, I know there's many out there, so you probably argue, but I love that part where he knocks the guy off. And he goes to save him, and the guy hits the fucking floor really hard.
That face plant, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, he can't survive that.
He
really?
can't be alive.
He hits the ground face first. But yeah, they seem to pull him up.
It's when Jet Li's like, oh, you're alive. That's okay. But with all of these victories over all of these different fighters that come to the town, there is still one person that Ho has to beat, and that is Master Chin, the original kid, I'm assuming, that he was defeated by when he was younger. And Master Chin doesn't want to fight him, you know, because he's more experienced, he's more wise. He doesn't need to fight Ho to prove anything. He already has his status. What Ho has to do is come at it as an honourable fight. But he's too brash. He's too cocky. And on the night of Master Chin's birthday, some of the disciples come to Ho and say to him, yeah, our friend's just been beaten up by Master Chin. So without even thinking, Ho just goes there and just storms straight into the bar and just starts drinking. And the godson of Master Chin comes up to him, and it's a really nice part where he's just like, please, it's my godfather's birthday. He'll fight you any other day, just not tonight. And you can just see the arrogance in Ho, where he just grabs the guy and puts him in this hold, and then turns to Master Chin and says, I've signed my waiver. You must sign yours as well. Anybody who stays here stays at their own risk. You know, he even tells Jin Sen, who tells him to get out of the restaurant. He says to Jin Sen, I'll pay for all the damages. Like, he knows he's going to smash the place up to kill this guy.
And for Jinsun, that is like the final straw for him. He's just like, look, you were my best friend. We grew up together. Why are you doing this? Like, you're not even thinking about what it is that you're doing. So, you know, and their friendship ends there.
Yeah.
He's just like, you're going to tear this place up. You're going to pay all this back when you've got no money. You're insulting my establishment. You're insulting the guests that are here.
Yeah.
You've not garnered all of the facts, and you're here to fight.
Yeah.
And, Ho screams for everybody to get out. And then you do get that spectacular camera shot where you see them both with their weapons drawn. Oh. And then the fight commences. It is spectacularly fast combat. It is spellbinding to look at.
Yeah.
Just the camera work, their movements. You know, eventually their weapons get disarmed and then they move on to new weapons before they start fist fighting. And you just watch this restaurant get torn to pieces as they tear each other to pieces.
But the thing I couldn't is that Ho has purposely gone out of his way to go and find Master Chin to beat him to death.
Yeah,
because he's already got that waiver signed. He's already drinking. He's already planning on messing this place up. One of them is not leaving this restaurant, and that's the thing that got me most, is that Ho knows he can't be defeated, but he has no thought of what if he does. You know, he's going to leave his daughter without a father. You know, he has no consideration of that. He's going to leave his family completely poor over the debts that he's going to leave.
But he also has no consideration of losing. And so when, unlike his father, when the time to hold back arises, he doesn't. And he pushes and punches as hard as he can, which severely cripples Master Chin, who is then rushed off to a hospital, to which we are later told that he died just a few hours later.
Yeah.
And that is then what impacts on Ho.
Yeah, well, it's the fact that as soon as he's defeated Master Chin, he just goes over to the other restaurant and just starts drinking then.
Yeah.
And stumbles out the next morning And Jinsen tells him about Master Chin, and Ho goes home. But while he's been drinking away, Master Chin's godson has come to Ho's house and killed his mother and his daughter. And you're just like, what the fuck? So Ho, in his rage, storms over to Master Chin's home with his sword ready to kill this boy. And the boy just commits suicide right there. He knows what he's done is wrong and he was seeking revenge. But it's even more revengeful that Ho can even exact his revenge. And you see him with his blade pointing at the
family of
the mum and daughter there, you know, and you're thinking, no, you can't kill them and just
make
revenge.
It even.
No.
Yeah.
And so he just drops the blade. And it's the fact that when he storms outside as well, the disciples are like, they've grabbed the guy who first initially started this off, and he tells the truth to Master Ho, and it turns out that the disciple had insulted Master Chin. So kind of deserved the fucking beating he got.
It's that revelation then that he acted without thinking or without all of the facts and the actions, you know, the consequences of his actions are now all around him, and he just leaves town.
Yeah.
He's just like, you've destroyed your house, you've sullied your name, there's nothing left here for you, not even your family.
Yeah.
And so he exiles himself.
Which, the funny thing is, like we said, this is partially based on a true story.
Well, no, it's the character that we're following in this film very much existed.
Yeah.
He has been celebrated and become so famous. He's almost like a myth.
Well, yeah,
that the real facts of what happened in history have kind of become very, very blurred.
Well, that was it.
So you can just go, something happened here. This is, you know, some people died, and so this film kind of elaborates on it. You know, just like any based on a true story film does.
That was it. A descendant of Ho tried to sue the film company and tried to sue Jet Li to say, look, all of this stuff that you're showing my great-great-grandfather is, you know, he was nothing like this. He was an honourable man. A court in Beijing dismissed the case and basically said, look, yes, okay, we can't fully prove that this didn't happen, but this is just a film. It's an exaggeration of certain events. And I'm just like, yeah, but how far? You know, did he have a daughter? Was he that bad of a father that he left her unattended, that she could be killed in revenge for something that he did without thinking all the way through? You know, it's
he was survived by 3 sons and 2 daughters in reality. And like by today, like 2018, I think he has like 11 great-grandchildren.
Right.
So the family definitely has lived on.
Yeah. But it's just such an impactful beginning that, you know, we know that this character that Jet Li is playing is an honourable man, but he, for half this movie, or 40 minutes of this movie, was a dick.
Yeah.
You know? He stumbles off.
But the thing is, you say he's a dick, but at the same time, you still really care about him. Because you can see that there is a human under there that has compassion, that does care.
I only felt that after he'd lost everything.
Okay.
Because it's you know, it's like the old saying, you have to hit rock bottom to understand what you've lost.
Yeah.
You know, and he, like I said, as a parent, he didn't care for his daughter enough that he would, after the fight, go back. He wouldn't even give up on the fight for her.
Yeah.
It was the fight or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, he sought the approval of all of these people looking up to him, and yet none of them respected him. You know, Jin-sun, his own best friend, Jin-sun, he just cast aside. And Jin-sun had been there and helped him get to the position that he was.
Yeah.
As I said, it also goes back to that quick cut that I don't know the back history. So, you know, maybe he was a really, really nice family man and stuff pushed him over the edge when his wife died. That I would have felt a bit more emotional too, but... And what about his father passing away? I don't get any of that. It's just, jump, I'm now fighting, I've lost everything, I'm now wandering off into the mountains. And it's found by this remote village. And they take him in and take care of him. And he meets a blind girl called Moon, who I felt, there was going to be a bit of a love interest there. But the film kind of moves it on quite quickly by saying, oh, it's almost Day of the Dead. Moon, you have to pay respects to your family. And that's where Ho realizes, oh shit, yeah, I've got to return home. I've got to go to my family's graves.
He's here to recover from the wounds he's taken.
Yeah.
Mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
And, living the simple life, essentially, of just growing crops.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite shots in the film, and it's when there's two sequences in this film that I always remember it when everyone goes, oh, have you ever seen Fearless? And I go, yes, because I love this scene in this scene.
Yeah.
And you see him in the field planting the crops. It cuts later and you see Moon down there and she's replanting all of the crops.
Yeah,
because he just rushed it.
Yeah.
And that's his character. But then you see him learning how it's done correctly and how all life supports itself, but it can't grow when it's planted so close to each other.
Yeah.
But it's the sequence when he's doing it and all of the Chinese people just stand up
and
let the breeze go right over them to show the change of the season.
Yeah.
And then the shot where you see the field and you watch the season change and again and again and again until it comes back again. That for me was just the most poignant and my favourite sequence in the film as well, because it just humbles him. It brings him to reality.
Yeah.
It is a part of his healing process. And he is soon after that ready to go home essentially and face the music now that he is a much more mature person.
Yeah, it's kind of like he enjoyed rejuvenating himself there, but he knew he couldn't hide there. He was just technically hiding there if he decided to stay, and it would be false as well if he'd tried to make a family with Moon after already losing his previous one. And he returns to his hometown. I love the beggar. I wanted to bring the beggar up. I love the beggar. He's such a tiny little part, but it's the way he just keeps coming to Ho, and it's just like, are you going to be champion today? Are you going to be champion today? And he's like, yeah, I will. And you see him every now and again just before a fight. And it's that one where you see him, he's in front of the stone circle and the beggar's above him. And it's kind of poignant where the beggar's just like, are you champion today? You've defeated everybody. And it's like, well, if he is, he's the worst champion ever because he's down in the gutter, throwing up. But it's when Ho comes back and the beggar immediately recognizes him. Yeah. Oh, it's the champion. The champion has returned. I'm like, that guy's not insane. He knows what he's talking about. He may just be a stupid beggar, but he's as wise as anybody else. And Ho, well, he returns home. Luckily, the home has been saved by Jinsun because the creditors had come around after Ho had exiled himself. They'd lost practically everything.
Except the building.
Except the building because Jinsun had paid for it. He didn't want his friend's family to lose everything. And that was such a nice moment because Jinsun stays as the friend.
Yes.
Even though he hates Ho and some of the situations he puts him in, he'll never find another friend like that.
No.
So he never thought about
leaving. They're childhood friends. Their bond is deep despite the afflictions they've put on each other. But now that he's back home, we catch up with history a little bit where in early 1910, the Chinese government was crumbling. The old Chinese dynasties were just on the brink of collapse.
Yeah.
Where Western power had pretty much dominates the whole of China.
No, everywhere, pretty much.
Everywhere, from its economy, its commerce, its trade. Everything about China is becoming under control, and it's being handed out to Japan, to America, to England. All these foreign powers are just saying China is weak. It's ours for the taking. Let's split it up and do what we want with it.
Yeah.
And they considered Chinese to be the weak men of the East.
Yeah.
And Ho was just like, look, I want to go and fight this guy for the Chinese people. Not because I am the best martial artist and I want to prove myself as the best.
This is the Hercules O'Brien fight.
This is the fight with Hercules O'Brien. And he convinces Jinsun, He's like, give me some money. I need to go to this fight to prove myself. And Jinsen's like, is this about fighting? Then the answer is no.
Yeah.
But he leaves the newspaper on his desk and sort of leaves, and Jinsen reads it, and and this is where it's the whole of the Chinese people are being called out here, and so he's just like, this isn't just a fight. This is about all of our people, so it is different.
I like the way as well. It's kind of like Ho's not fighting for himself anymore.
No, that he's fighting for the whole of the Chinese people.
And even though Jinsen has just told him no, he's got nowhere else he can go. So he's just like, okay, I'll leave it then.
Yeah.
I'm not going to purposely go out my way. You can't help me, then I can't get any help. And then Jinsen's just like, sends a messenger and says, yep, here's some money. Go and fight this guy. I don't know about the special effects on the wide shots, when the camera comes in from the clouds and stuff. Especially like on this circus tent moment. It seemed... Yeah, like we already said, it's exaggerated. The movie is exaggerated. So I kind of go with that. But it's a shame because there's a lot of sequences that feel very real, feel very historical, that when you get this CGI moment, you're like, oh, really?
It didn't take me out of the film that much. I was aware of it, where I was just like, oh,
yeah,
it's fine, it's serviceable.
But we got Nathan Jones from WWE fighting Jet Li, and I'm sorry, Nathan Jones, but you're about to get your ass whooped.
I only ever seen Nathan Jones in, I think he was in SmackDown as one of Lesnar's crew.
Yeah.
But he was also in Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, who was he in
He was one of the big... Well, you can always tell when it's him.
Oh, yeah, he's just a
size
fucking massive... Yeah. He's the big guy over there.
Yeah.
But I love this fight as well because... Not mainly the fight itself, because Ho's going to beat him. He's faster, he's more talented, he's able to use his own momentum to control his throws. But it's that last peg, the metal peg that comes off the ring, and how Nathan Jones kind of falls over the rope and Ho saves him with his foot.
Yeah.
Just saves him from death. Now, it's unrecorded exactly how this fight went. Some people say that it did happen, some say it didn't.
Yeah, some people say the fight never actually happened, that O'Brien just kind of left the town.
Yeah.
And because he left, everyone was just like, yes, Ho is the victor!
Well, I'd go with that.
We've scared off the Irish boxer! And so, but like I said, this film, in history, a little bit blurry, so
yeah,
we're going to have an epic fight.
Yeah.
And you said he saves him at the end. And he raises Ho's arm up and says Ho is the victor.
Yeah.
So of course, disgraces everybody else, and all of the invading foreign powers just can't accept it.
No.
They can't accept. They want China under their heel.
Yeah.
And so they invite Ho to another tournament, a final tournament where he must fight off against 4 combatants, one after the other.
Yeah.
In order for him to be proven as the champion of China, and subsequently to turn the Chinese people against these foreign invaders, or to be able for them to realize and see what's happening to their country.
Yeah.
So the fact that this all actually happened as well, it's quite a monumental point in history, and you can see why Ho Yanjin is celebrated for the person that he is.
Yeah.
And before he even goes to this tournament, he opens up his own dojo. He opens up the Chinwoo Athletic Association.
Yeah, he brings all of the martial arts underneath one roof.
Yes.
He basically just says, no, it was something that we'd followed from the start of the movie, obviously with his father fighting, is that everyone was always squabbling to see whose martial arts was better than the others. And then it was Ho who decided that no one martial art was bigger. They all had their own counters and their own different ways. It was
the different skill levels of different people within the different teachings.
That's it. You just bring them all under one house, and everyone can learn from this. Everyone can be disciplined by it. Everyone can, find peace, I suppose, but also at the same time be a fucking really good killing machine.
But he still accepts that they have to have tournaments in order to find out your weaknesses.
Yeah. And I love that part where he speaks to Tanaka.
Yes.
The Chinese, the Japanese martial artist, and
they exchange dialogue over tea.
Yeah.
And one explains why this tea is good because it has a better taste or it's stronger, and how Yanjin is just like, it doesn't matter. It's on the day. It depends on your mood. If you're in a good mood, any tea will do because it will taste better because you're in a good mood.
Yeah.
And he teaches his wisdom over to to the Japanese martial artist. So I was like, that's a great moment.
Yeah.
You know, where this Japanese martial artist has been sent. Well, he hasn't been sent there. He's come there of his own accord.
Yeah.
To see who his competition is and to, I don't know, break bread essentially.
That's it.
Even though his father, or it felt like it was his father, but this Japanese businessman who is basically there to pull the rug out of China.
Yeah, I think he's just a businessman. He wants control. I think he's a Japanese businessman, and that's why he's so in Tanaka's ear about we want to win, we need the money. And Tanaka sat there like, this isn't about honor.
No.
This isn't about martial art prowess. This is about you making more money and, you know,
Profiting off of this. Yeah.
Making these people feel like slaves, which is funny because I totally forgot about this segment compared to, say, Fist of Legend with Jet Li in as well, and Ip Man with Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
You know, where the Japanese people are put across as these horrible villains coming up against the Chinese people. I know it's many years later that they would fight, but seeing that this tea moment was kind of peaceful. Bit of trivia for you as well, Gary. Did you know that Jet Li not only plays Ho Yanjin in this movie, but he also plays the disciple Chen Zhen in Fist of Legend, who comes back to defend Ho Yanjin's honor against the Japanese fighters?
Yeah.
So Jet Li plays the master and the student in two separate movies.
Yeah. I believe that Hao Yanjin's story has been told in about 5 different films over time.
Yeah.
And there was even one that came out after this one as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, he is such a celebrated hero of China that it's no wonder that so many films have been made about him and his life story, despite, as we've said, facts being
That's
misinterpreted in places we don't really know.
But the final sequence, you know, he beats the crap out of 3 of the guys and then has to face Tanaka. And the businessmen they're very worried that Tanaka cannot win. So they purposely poison Ho's tea. And this quickly becomes an effect in the fist fight that he has with Tanaka, that after a couple of hits, he starts to just spit black blood out of his mouth. You know, he's very fatigued. He's very tired.
You see it, his vision goes so blurry that you can't even see the punches coming in. But he still manages to block everything successfully and before the bell rings.
And that's it. And it's like Tanaka even says to him, we can do this on another day. I will not feel bad for you if you need to. And it's like acceptance. Ho's like, no, I kind of want to die in the ring. And
well, he says that you cannot choose how you're born, but you can choose how you die.
Yeah.
And for him, it is fighting now for the Chinese honor.
Yeah.
For his people and for himself as well.
Yeah, and he has his final fight with Tanaka, and he would have killed Tanaka with that final hit if he'd had enough strength in it.
No,
but at the same time, he
had enough
back.
strength. He did what his father did at the beginning and what he did not do against Master Chen.
Yeah.
And so he holds back enough for the Japanese martial artists to be able to beat him. But, you know, Tanaka himself knows when he walks away after proclaiming the victor.
Yeah.
You know, because he knew in himself he had lost. The move was there, and maybe everyone in the audience didn't see it.
Yeah.
But if you were the martial artist, you knew that was the end for him.
Yeah.
And so he loses. Now, in the history, I don't know if this tournament actually even happened.
Right.
It turns out that they don't even know whether Hao Yanjin was even poisoned. He was very sick for quite a while. And it was a Japanese doctor who was prescribing him this different medicine.
It's like arsenic at one point. Yeah, take some of this. This will be good for you.
Well, arsenic was used in medicine at the time as well.
Yeah.
And so after 2 weeks in hospital, he did die. Whereas the film, you know, it glorifies it a little bit more for film's purpose.
Purpose, yeah.
And so he dies there in the ring, essentially, after victory.
Yeah. But you get that little nice moment with Moon, you know, when she's out in the village and she looks up in the night sky and
he's there like an angelic.
Just doing his martial arts against the stars. It's really
it's quite a nice ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I've said, there's quite a few favourite sequences in the film. I love the field with the breeze coming through.
Yeah.
I love the changing of the season to show how time's passed.
Yeah.
I really liked the restaurant fight sequence between the two of them.
Yeah, Master Chen,
trivia for you.
Yeah.
Is that during that fight sequence, they broke like 20 swords just in the first take.
Wow.
Because they were fighting so fast and frenetically, they were just like broken swords, broken swords.
And that's it. I mean, as good as Jet Li is, this the guy playing Master Chin is able to keep up with him.
They are fantastic
and it's
performers.
Just so good, yeah.
Yeah, and it makes for probably the best fight sequence in the whole film. Although my favourite is the fight against O'Brien.
Yeah.
Just because I love the David Goliath kind of scale.
Yeah.
And I also really did like the fight sequence on top of the raised tower.
Yeah.
Now, being someone who's kind of has a fear of heights, you know, as soon as they're on the edge, I was just like, like, don't fall off. Like, don't fall off, because if you do, that'll happen.
Most of my favourite sequences are just fight sequences. I really like the fight at the beginning between Ho's father and the other martial artist. It's just, you know, it's not over the top. It just seems, like I said, it just seems very realistic that that's what they would have done on that tiny little stone pedestal, knock them off into the crowd. The massive death battle on top of the huge wooden tower. I mean, like we said, who the fuck constructed it? Who thought that would be a good idea? You know, why even sign death waivers? They're gonna fucking die off the top of it anyway. The fight with O'Brien, like Gary said, you know, it's just the whole David Goliath thing. The fight sequences with Jet Li fighting the four guys at the end, especially the fight with Tanaka, it just looks so nice. The director, you know, was purposely like, let's keep the camera on Jet Li, but let's not exaggerate it so much that we have to do anything in post-production. Let's just let him do what he does best. And it comes across really, really well. I do and I don't really like the underlying story. Like we said, we're not entirely sure what is truth or not. And with stuff like that, especially the emotional family stuff, if it's not true, I feel like I've been slighted by the film, that I'm being made to feel this emotion that it's got nothing to do with the character. But then again, I do really like it because, you know, it sets him up to come back with experience and wisdom and realize his mistakes. You know, he grew up really cocky and self-sure, and then for the Chinese people at the end, he's just like, it's not about me, it's about everybody.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, the legacy of the company that he found in the film, and in reality, is still going today with dojos in like 50 different states, or so it's in so many
worldwide.
Different countries. It
Yeah.
is a worldwide recognized martial arts club. And by the end of it, you are wholly satisfied, because
Yeah.
you've just seen some of the best martial arts put to film, in my opinion. Jet Li steals so many of the scenes. And, you know, he's not just a fantastic martial artist. He's a really good actor as well.
Yes, yes.
You get behind the character, even though he's not a very likable character.
Yeah, yeah.
You still root for him because the film makes you feel that way.
Yeah.
And you are heartbroken with him when he finds his family. You know, you understand the pain he's going through. And you can blame him for the fall of his house, and you can also blame him for the rise afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautifully shot. It's well edited. It truly is spectacular. Great pacing, good story, and very memorable characters. So I easily recommend Fearless.
I do recommend Fearless as well. Obviously, if you're not a martial arts fan, you don't like that kind of stuff, don't watch it and then come back to me and moan that you watched it because you didn't like it.
I'm not the biggest martial arts fan. I don't go out of my way to watch martial arts films, not ever. This one, loved.
Yeah. If you've never seen it and you're interested in it, watch it and then go back and watch, you know, the Fong Sai-yuk movies, the Once Upon a Time in China. You just get more Jet Li, you know, and the older stuff is just as good because, you know, he's still an inexperienced actor, so you can kind of see it in the way he portrays himself on screen. You know, go and watch Fist of Legend as a sequel. Watch Jet Li play Chen Zhen and beat the shit out of more Japanese people. It's really, really good.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.